to me. You've been on my mind. You can't change anyone, even if you try. I'm not for everyone. See them watching from the distance, and I won't have it questioning my own existence. Hiding in my jacket. See them watching from the distance, and I won't have it questioning my own existence. Hiding in my jacket.
Opening contest is scheduled for
Welcome, one and all, to the Knights of Columbus Hall here in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts. My name's Bobby Rossi, and I'll be your narrator for this afternoon. Folks, as someone who has watched this young man come into his own over the course of 10 years, he never ceases to amaze me. I really do scratch my head sometimes because I wonder how someone who was once so humble, someone who was once so polite, has become the entitled, the insufferable prick he's become. Look, all right, I'll keep it PG for the rest of the show, and I'll keep it as unbiased as I can throughout this matchup. But when I tell you this young man gets under my skin in ways no one else has, it's true. I almost don't recognize him anymore. That's my stance, folks. But I'll take nothing away from him as an athlete. He has certainly made radars for good reason. This young man has got the wrestling world by the balls, and the sky truly is the limit.
You guys want to know why the devil got rejected? Do you really want to know? Shut up!
I do wonder if he is his own worst enemy. He's taken on all comers over the years. But I do wonder. Got our lively crowd here at Mattapoisett, ready for some live pro wrestling. I want to thank all of you for joining us via whichever streaming application you're doing so, or if you're live here in person. It's all about you, folks, because if you weren't here, this wouldn't mean nothing. AJP has got his work cut out for him this afternoon. The Devil's Reject is never any sort of walk in the park. And I'll tell you, this guy has been through some ringers. AJP actually has a lot to potentially gain in this matchup, even if he comes up a bit short in the victory department. Brandon Webb has been a staple of Southern New England independent wrestling for the better part of 15 years. Quite frankly, he has paved the very road that AJP finds himself traveling on a weekend basis. Look at him, pick it up. Dishing out orders, dishing out demands. I think the Devil's Reject's got something else in mind for him. Sounds foul to me, folks. This match is not going to start until both competitors are in between the ropes. AJP taking his time. Oh, it's all about you, ain't it, Rockstar? I feel as if he may be in for a rude awakening, folks.
Ring the bell.
And it's official. The time for talk is over. Time to do the dance, kiddo. Brandon Webb stalking his prey ever so creepily, but with direction and intent. He's unfazed. Oh, big swing and a miss. But Webb's not impressed. He's not too far thrown off either. Look at this. AJP continues to try to play the mind games, demanding space. The number one young gun makes his way back onto the canvas. Brandon Webb walking him down. AJP goes for the waist. Devil's Reject switches things up. He's got his opponent by the wrist. Got some good torque on it. AJP trying to shift directions, and he does. Reverses and counters into an armbar of his own. Very well done. Oh, but Brandon Webb now, he's already thinking evasion. Very well done. A little jiu-jitsu action right there. Modified head scissors, if you will. That's the thing about Brandon Webb. He's always been innovative. He's always been low-key technical. Very unorthodox. Textbook standing headlock here. The Devil's Reject cinching it in. AJP walks him over to the ropes, gets him up on his heels, breaks the hold momentarily, goes back for the waist lock. I think he's going for maybe some sort of amateur takedown. AJP, though, taking ass over tea kettle. And Brandon Webb's got a good hold of this arm yet again. AJP now creating a wedge. Turns this into a pinning predicament. Very well done. Way to improvise. Say what we will about this young man and his attitude. He can think on his feet. Oh, big shoulder block. Sends AJP to the canvas. Webb goes back to the standing headlock. It looks as if the Devil's Reject has a strategy in mind. AJP breaks a hold, counters with a head scissors. Doesn't really have it too tight, or else we'd see Devil's Reject scrambling a little bit more. A real sense of urgency, but he's got him slowed down. He's got him isolated. Beautiful counter by Webb. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, folks. AJP may not like where he is right now, but I guarantee you, months, years down the line, he's going to look back at this match. He's going to take note. He's going to apply a lot of what he's learned.
Don't even talk to me.
Brandon Webb with a spinning back kick lands in the midsection. Face full of buckle for the number one young gun. Takes him by the wrist, whipped it to the adjacent set of buckles. Webb lands that modified body splash. Both spectacular and effective. Reversal of the whip by AJP. Charges in, goes for the monkey flip, but Webb sticks the landing. Look at this. Creates a little bit of velocity. Oh! The young gun had it scouted. Big side kick to the midsection. Cover to follow. 2.5 count, says Robinson. Webb was really... He's had the wind taken out of his sails by that last kick. You know, he was on the better part of the offensive for this matchup, and AJP seems to have shifted gears. He's turned the tables into his favor with just that one deft maneuver. That goes to show you, folks, timing is everything. AJP knows where he is at all times. His situational awareness is exceptional when he's focused. Webb not so quick to get to his feet. He finds himself backed into the ropes. leaning onto them even. He's having a tough time staying on his own 2 feet. Oh, look at this. We got ourselves a little modification here, and AJP is taking full advantage of it. Oh, wait a minute. That just pissed Webb right off. Lefts and rights, shades of Vader with that striking combination. Brandon Webb now. What's he got in mind here? He's got AJP cinched up. Hoists him for the vertical suplex. He's letting it hang a bit. Drops him down. Textbook precision. Cover here. 2. Not quite enough to finish his adversary, but I'd say that Brandon Webb has put himself in a good spot. He seems to have recovered, he seems to have re-strategized, and he's back on the offensive. AJP getting a little taste of his own medicine. Brandon Webb starting to turn this into somewhat of a dogfight. And this is the Devil's Reject I've grown to know over the years. That's the thing about Webb. He doesn't always play nice. Ooh! That must have taken all of his wind out. AJP, with a deep hook of the leg, manages to make his shoulder come off the canvas just in the nick of time. He's hurting. That was a double-barreled shotgun-style drop kick to the chest. That kid is winded. What the hell's Webb got in mind here? Ooh, stalls a little bit on that springboard moonsault, and it ends up costing him dearly. AJP wisely goes for the cover. 2, not quite enough pressure in the lateral area. Webb still manages to make his way through this match. Still official. Devil's Reject just barely getting to his feet. AJP hits the knee lift right underneath Webb's chin. And I'll tell you, Webb is not looking good right now. Woo! He's in a bad way. It seems as if every time AJP manages a pinfall, he gets just ever so much closer to that coveted 3 count. And this would be a big victory for him. This is one that he can maybe put in his hat, if you will. Webb still dazed on the shoulders of AJP. Oh, wait a minute. I sit corrected. What's he going for here? Oh! A blatant gouge of the eyes, you son of an unnamed goat. AJP's got him cinched. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The Devil's Reject refuses to say die.
That was my finishing move.
Brandon Webb is fine. Where, I don't know, but he's found some sort of reserve. He's making it back to his feet. AJP has gone to his arsenal and utilized just about every weapon inside of it. Now, I think he's just going to have to turn this into a fight. I think he's going to have to play Webb's game. Webb looking worse for wear on that top buckle. AJP standing in the middle ropes here. These guys are in the high-risk district. Things can get ugly really fast. And Webb's taking a bite out of crime. Oh, misses. AJP, though, he's trying to mount some sort of offense again. He's blindly running into his opponent. Webb with the counter and the cinch. Drilling backbreaker. That's got to sever one's spine. That's got to be it. I mean, I don't know, folks. I'd have topped out 5 minutes ago if I were in between those ropes. But it's not about me. It's about AJP and the Devil's Reject. Up from the third buckle. Hits the crossbody. hook of the leg, and still that entitled #1 young gun thrives. He finds a way, a testament to both of these athletes. I'll tell you, they're made out of something different, folks. Wait a minute, AJP up on the shoulders of AJ. What the?
Not you, Brandon Webb. I drove all the way to this dump that you call home. This is
Oh, look! I should have known. The unit was using this as an opportunity to advance their agenda. It's always about them. It's always about Dunn. It's always about whichever cronies he's bossing around this month. We were having ourselves a fantastic matchup here at the Mattapoisett Knights of Columbus. I feel the same way, lady. The same exact way. I'm with you, Ma.
This is the people your hometown breeds. Don't embarrass me. AJ, don't do us a favor. Put the boots to this bum.
Come on! Hey, JP, you're better than this. Please, don't. Come on. Webb has done nothing to deserve this beatdown. Thank God that we have found some sort of resolve here. I don't know where the hell the rest of our officiating staff is. I mean, the building's not that big, for Christ's sake. But I tell you, folks, we've got more live pro wrestling on tap for you. This isn't how we wanted to start the show, but... Classics.
Shut the hell up. I'm talking now.
I know we have history. I know we've had history. We've been up and down New England for years. That was 10 years ago. You can't let that shit go. But you know what? I got more friends than your little unit. Because I'm from New Bedford, and I know plenty of hoods in New Bedford that are willing to take you all out from your land. So if you can't do the calories, you want to go to the test with New Bedford Zone? How about later tonight? 6-man tag. I'm gonna get What's on that, Goodz? You ready to do nothing?
New Bedford Zone, Devil's Reject. Live pro wrestling continues the only contest season 4.
Rich, don't do it. Rich, don't. Please don't. Don't give him the micro. Come on.
I'm gonna be honest right now. I thought New Bedford was gross. Mattapoisett is even worse. Mattapoisett is the grossest freaking town I've ever been. Shut up!
It's not how to talk to people. That is not how to talk to fans. You gotta be kidding me. No way. I hope he's telling tales. I hope he's lying out of his ass. This is not a duo I want to see. I mean, Congo's violent enough. Oh my God. The wild man that we know as Congo is violent enough. He doesn't need any sort of inspiration, and he certainly doesn't need the likes of HD3 in his ear. This is an unholy union on so many different planes. Congo is as mean and as nasty as they come. He is old school. He is no frills. And I guarantee you tonight, he is going to leave some sort of lasting impression upon Jara Joel. What many may not know is that this young man right here, before he started to make international waves on television, he actually started out right here in this area. One of the many gems that you have had the privilege of watch grow into their own here in southern New England. This Punjabi lion is truly coming to his own over the past couple years, folks. And keep your eyes peeled, because he might not be in this area much longer. Looking at the scowl. Oh, of course. Congo looking at him with such contempt. He would love to take the wind out of his sails. Jara Joel now slips the slam. Lands a nice striking combination. Forearms and chops alike. Big discus forearm to follow it up. Ooh. Super kick right to the jaws of the wild man. Smart approach. Get violent early. Fight fire with fire. Jara Joel has got Congo right where he needs him. Lined up across the buckles. Lands a hellacious lariat. Ooh. Wild man's breathing heavy early on in this matchup. Joel could have done some serious damage early on. HD3 trying to create any kind of distraction he can, looking to maybe give his client the advantage. Congo reverses the whip. And what do these two have planned? Oh! Cross body block. Congo's got a hold of Joel. Just tearing at the upper mandible. Smart, ugly, yet effective. Looking to wear down his opponent. Trying to keep him out of his stride. Congo's doing just this with a rake over the back as Joel tries to get a cheap shot in on HD3. Now, if I had a guy like that in my ear while I was trying to compete, I'd be thinking irrationally as well. Jara Joel's looking dazed and confused with that big right hand issued out by Congo. The king of the concrete jungle stalking his prey.
What do you got? Give me a shot, huh?
Oh, asking ye shall receive. Congo with a big clubbing blow stops Joel dead in his tracks. And again, just ripping at the man's face. This right here, folks, this kind of squeeze onto your traps, it creates somewhat of a paralyzing effect. It really does. As you can see, Jara is starting to kick his legs around a little bit. He's trying to recreate some sensation. That hold will create what's called pins and needles. It's quite debilitating. But Joel fights to his feet. Oh, and he ends up running into another lariat, trying to create a little bit of distance. Closes in the gap. Well, he tries to close in the gap, but Wild Man Congo had it scouted. You're not going to find that in any textbook. Congo now, he's got a waist lock applied. It looks like he may be going for a belly-to-belly suplex. A modified bear hug even. Jara Joel looks to break the hold, a couple of elbows. The third one lands as well. Big pump kick. Joel to that second buckle. Oh, and he hits a modified code breaker, and that sends Congo to the other side of the ring. Joel is digging deep. He's finding those reserves. And he continues to beat down the big man. Standing tall in that second buckle. He's dishing out some right hands. Jara Joel's found himself a new gear. Oh! Big swing and a miss by Congo, who finds himself up and driven to the canvas. All those hours in the gym have certainly paid off. Joel's got his adversary in his crosshairs. Congo struggling to get to his feet. And a little bit of soul food served up for dinner, but Tony P's distracted. Howardson Davis. You rotten son. All right, I'll bite my tongue. He's got no business being at ringside or putting his hands on him. Jara Joel's lost lost sight of what's going on here. Congo is going to capitalize. Cover here. 2 and that's going to do it. With the help and assist by HD3, the Wild Man Congo cinches in a victory over Jora Joel. And I'll tell you, folks, this just reeks of robbery to me. Grand larceny was just taking place here. Now they're awfully proud of themselves, aren't they? It turns my stomach.
This contest is scheduled for 1 fall. There it is.
Welcome back to the Knights of Columbus Hall in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts, folks. We've got our third match about to be underway, and this impressive specimen, Tyree Taylor, although new to the area, has already made a couple of impressions in a short amount of time. Extremely agile for his size and stature, and well, as you can imagine, the power game is strong with this one. All right. Leave Rich alone. Come on. We love him. This is going to be quite the test for Tyree, formerly known as the Rhode Island Lion. If he still goes by that, I sit corrected. Nico Silva is another standout of the lockup who's truly come into his own over the past 2 to 3 years. I'll tell you, he really is the total package. I've seen him do it all. I've seen him grapple. I've seen him do a little bit of flying. I've seen him brawl. Silva is no walk in the park. Taylor is going to have to bring his A game to the table tonight. Few displeasantries being thrown about between Tyree and the Mattapoisett faithful. This contest is official now, folks. Tyree Taylor outsizing his opponent in Nico Silva. I wonder what kind of strategy Silva's going to look to employ early on. Both men engage in a collar and elbow tie-up. Silva finds his back up against the buckles. Taylor reluctantly offers a clean break, much to my surprise. Silva's taking him time. This is what you would call somewhat of a feeling out process, if you will. quite literally and figuratively. Taylor looking to readjust his footing, but he can't quite catch it. Silva keeping him on his heels. Both men are 1 for 1. Silva and Taylor, very similar builds. Silva's got a hold of the wrist, branching in it several different ways. Look, whoa! Taylor breaking the mold as well as the hold. Gets his wrist free, and Silva's taking it back a bit. Oh, that's just bold. Tyree gets a hold of that wrist. Silva now makes it look very easy. Pushes the big man away with a textbook style drop kick. Taylor now held by the waist. Silva's making him look silly. And Tyree Taylor, early on in this matchup, has been taken to class. Silva throws himself up over those top ropes, and he gets the big man down to the ground. Taylor tossed back into the ring. Silva hot in pursuit. He ascends to those middle buckles. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he's going up to the top. Takes a little bit too long, and Taylor trips him up. Oh, and lands a big elbow. Cover applied. Just gets a 2 count. But Taylor appears to have turned the tables on his adversary. Silva now no longer on the offensive. Finds himself making his way to his feet up off the canvas, and Taylor is just grinding it out. Ooh! Taking the wind literally out of Silva. Taylor with those heavy hands floors his opponent. Oh, that's just disrespectful. Pulling him up by the ears. Seated top wrist lock applied. No, I sit corrected. Some modified grappling as a means to strike your opponent. It's a very sound strategy, and not what I expected by Tyree. Having that football build, I expected a lot more of a slam-based, suplex-based arsenal. Again, I was wrong. Silva's got to find a way to turn things around, though. Blocks the shot, throws a couple of forearms of his own. Taylor's up against those buckles. He reverses the whip attempt. Silva anticipates Taylor to charge in, but he did not have that one scouted. Cover here. 2. And Taylor with some misplaced pressure still allows Silva to get his shoulder up off the canvas. And again, he's targeting those ribs. It seems as if that's been the play all along. Taylor has isolated the midsection of Nico Silva in the second phase of this matchup. And it hasn't been enough to take him out entirely. Not against the rules, but some dirty pool, and Silva's not having any more of it. Oh, God! Tyree Taylor has his opponent where he needs him. Scott Robinson does not approve of that hold, nor should he. Some medieval torture being issued out here in Mattapoisett. Ooh. And Taylor just continues to beat up Silva. The Rhode Island Lion isn't having it. Blocks the shot yet again. Silva's wound up. Big right hands, big right forearms. Lariat attempt does not floor the bigger man. Taylor is staggering on his feet. Silva up off the ropes. 2 swings, 2 big misses. That one lands flush. And Silva is turning things up into a higher gear. Charges in from across the ring. Lands the elbow. Comes in for another. Lands it. He's 2 for 2. Silva thrown over to the apron. Big crescent kick lands. Silva from the third buckle hits the shoulder block. Tyree Taylor to the canvas. Cover here. And still just a 2 count. Well, Rhode Island Lion has gone to the well a couple of different times. He does have himself a very varied arsenal. I'm not so sure what else he can dish out. Taylor has taken the brunt of all of his offense. Silva unwisely going for a body slam. Taylor counters. Silva ducks underneath, creates a bit of space. Big swing and a miss by Taylor. Can Silva capitalize? Holy shit! Cover! How in the world? As both of these men continue to find a way, to find a reason. The natives here are starting to grow restless, but they are still in the corner of the Rhode Island Lion. Tyree Taylor makes his way to his feet. That's using your noggin. Silva from that top buckle. Oh, he hesitates. It costs him. Taylor's, that big discus lariat lands flush, and that will do it. Folks, size truly does matter, and Tyree Taylor is a living proof to that. Nico Silva's got nothing to be ashamed of. He brought his A game and he took every bit of it to his adversary. But Tyree was just too strong and too fierce. Folks, more live pro wrestling to follow.
Listen, live pro wrestling just got a second, baby. If you don't know, now you know. And if you knew before, you'll never forget.
Welcome back to the Knights of Columbus Hall in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts. Live pro wrestling will continue on with the jams. That's right, folks. If you have questions about your return, you can see this man. If you and your life partner are filing jointly, you can see this man. If you want to see some of the more lackadaisical yet innovative grappling, professional wrestling has to offer. You can see this man. He brings a lot more to the table than H&R Block does. He is another living proof to the old adage, never judge a book by its cover or its choice of clip-up. CPA is a breath of fresh air. He's not roar in your face, I'm gonna kill you, brother. But he's so fun to watch. I can't help but be a fan. Don't overexert yourself. Use the chair. Be a man. If Spicy Mayonnaise was a wrestler, it'd be CPA. Mayonnaise is all right, but make it spicy, it's fantastic. And I'm not even a mayonnaise guy.
Rich, talk to the commissioner. You folks don't matter.
Oh, man. You know, Craig's the kind of guy that if he's sticking around after a show, you want to have a beer, you know, great fella, you know, to partake with. But I will never wrestle someone like that. He looks as if he's chiseled out of marble. You just don't want to make someone like that angry. Ever. CPA with stones of steel. Let's take it to Rich.
CPA! Give me a goddamn break.
Still your hero. 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 His week is withheld because Texas. The abominable CPA. Brought to my left from Somerset, Massachusetts. Leaning into 140 pounds, he's still your hero, Costa.
Now to the untrained eye, to the casual viewer, or to an individual with a shred of common sense, you're going to look at this setup and you're going to say, okay, the guy in the corduroys is going to die. And normally I would agree with you. But the CPA is unlike most pro wrestlers. He's just cut from a different cloth. I don't know how else to really paint the picture for you folks. Just buckle up and enjoy this ride.
I'll talk to you later.
Craig not intimidated one bit by his adversary, and the abominable CPA. Oh, wait a minute. He dips and he dodges. He gets the first pin attempt. See? Look at this now.
Here we go!
The abominable one looks like he's going to take charge. Craig Costa, though, feeds him a whole plate full of boob. It looks as if this match has already found its way outside of the ring. Tony P not so quick to grab Craig Costa by the scruff of the neck, if you will. Ooh, another big right hand. Costa continues to dish out the punishment to CPA. As if being an accountant wasn't punishment enough. Costa's looking at CPA like mincemeat as he charges in, lands the body splash, whips his opponent into the adjacent buckles, and lands another clothesline. CPA being treated like a Raggedy Andy doll, taken from post to post, driving him right into the canvas. But that was no pin. And CPA, well, he ain't no bitch. Clubbing blows to the back. Really suffering on the spine. Really suffering weighing in on the lungs of someone. A blow like that really can take the wind right out of your chest, man. It may not look it, but that actually has a terrible effect on him. Great Costa now. He's got his opponent cinched up. Got him by the waist. A stalling a vertical suplex. No! Wait a minute. CPA finds himself a way to freedom. Doesn't let go of the waist lock, and it cost him dearly. Costa breaks the hold with a back elbow. Oh, and flapjack with the single leg takeover, and CPA is letting it all hang out. We've got three button downs on. And that's what I call a 508. CPA's looking to go up to that high-risk district. Up to the third. Bucko hits a single leg drop kick. Deep hook of both legs, but it still just results in only a 2 count. Craig Costa is still your hero and still jacked beyond the gills. CPA stops Costa dead in his tracks with that back elbow. One last ditch effort. Oh, he goes to the well twice. Costa had it scouted. But CPA gets his shoulder up off the canvas just in the nick of time. We got some of the faithful here in Mattapoisett insisting that this match should not continue. No wonder how CPA feels about it as he gets dragged to his feet by Costa. He's got him up again. It looks as if he might actually hit this suplex attempt. He's got that stall. He's got a lot of blood rushing to the cranium. Oh, wait a minute. No! CPA with the... He gets the victory! That sneaky son of a bitch! Folks, this is why you cannot count your chickens before they hatch. And this is why you don't judge a book by its cover. In most worlds, 9 times out of 10, the fireman beats the crap out of the accountant. But this is live pro wrestling.
That's cute. Thank you. Well, listen, man, I gotta tell each and every one of you guys right now, I think I'm done. If I'm losing to ridiculousness like this, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's tiring. It's over. So, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Greg Costa can no longer be your hero. The reason is, no. The reason is I've fallen out of love. I've fallen out of love with professional wrestling.
Wow. Did somebody say love?
What are you doing? No way. Am I gonna sit in the back? While someone else gives up on love? Are you kidding me? As former Pro Wrestling Live World Champion, I'm also heartbroken. But maybe together, we could resuscitate our love.
I'm sorry, man. I gotta get it. I'm out.
Wait. What if you took a look through my eyes?
Took a look through your eyes.
Yeah. Take a look.
Be the love hero.
Beautiful love. Are you trying to fall in love now?
Douglas, I think it's time for me to go, bro. I'm out. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
Look, I feel as if Craig is really looking for some closure here. It's not really fair to get in a man's mind like this. You got to leave him to his own choices. Something about this doesn't really sit well with Love Dog.
Still love Doug! Still love Doug! Give him his arms back!
Well, folks, we might have just seen the very last of Craig Costa. And if that is the case, I feel honored to have called his last matchup. Folks, we've got more live pro wrestling on tap for you. Don't you go anywhere.
All right, your next match is a tag team match.
There is a ton of promise in this young man. It's not even potential, because Channing Thomas is not the spring chicken he once was. He's not the young boy he once was. He is a young adult. He is a young man, and he is a thoroughbred of a competitor. But I gotta be honest, I feel as if he'd have been much further along in his career if he wasn't being saddled by that rotten, good-for-nothing Sidney Bakabella. And these two are actually going to tango. They're going to have themselves a tag team matchup instead of a soiled singles match in which Bakabella is constantly assisting Thomas towards a victory. As you can see, our official, Scott Robinson, holding up that title right there. That title may not be up for grabs tonight, but a shot at that title is up for grabs if Sidney Bakabella or Channing Thomas have their shoulders pinned to the mat or submit in this matchup. That's right, folks. If Bakabella or Thomas loses this match, LMK gets herself a shot at that very title. Boy, these two really do go together like coffee and cigarettes, though, don't they? Will meet Kathleen, Tedward Goodz. A very unlikely yet fantastic duo. And boy, am I glad I've seen this come together over the past few months. Well, me, Kathleen has won over the hearts of many within the region, and Teddy Goodz has literally made a career of doing the exact same thing. With their powers combined, they may be victorious here tonight. Let's take it to Rich Palladino for the ceremonials.
Little mean Kathleen will get a shot at the heavyweight championship of professional wrestling on Sunday, October 30th at Revival Grove. Introducing team number one to my right. First, currently on loan from the Minneapolis Boxing and Wrestling Club, and former WWF Hall of Famer, Sidney Bakabella.
The time for talk is over, ladies and gentlemen. This contest is about to be official. The team of LMK will be taking on the team of Channing Thomas and Sidney Bakabella. One where Lil Mean Kathleen could potentially earn herself a shot at that very championship title. That would be taking place down the line at Revival Brewery on October 30th. If the team of Teddy Goodz and LMK are so lucky to be victorious here tonight. Match will not start until we've got official starting captains. Looks as if Bakabella and Thomas are buying themselves some time.
No, you know what? I'm going to take it off.
Official Robinson calling for a starting member for each team so he can call for the timekeeper. Look, folks, I'm not as thrilled as this as you are, really. I'm just as repulsed. But the longer we let this go on, the longer our eyes have to burn. And little me, Kathleen, is just mortified. Imagine having to shack up with that, huh? Now that the collective nausea of this room has reached its all-time high, Goodz and Thomas have decided to kick things off, and this contest is underway. Goodz and Thomas. Oh, chanting Alec to tag in Bakabella early in the contest. And if I were Sidney, I'd try to buy as much time as I could. I'd try to take the focus off the actual issue at hand. And I, too, would want to fight a girl over Teddy Goodz if I was Sidney Bakabella. Well, me, Kathleen, is no average girl, though, I tell you. She's just as... What in the hell? Cameraman, stop! Oh, God. LMK slaps on a collar and elbow. Bakabella switches it up to a standing headlock. LMK reverses and counters into one of her own. Very well done. And the toupee has come off. I knew it. As smooth as a cue ball itself. And Bakabella, feeling naked as ever, tags and chanting Thomas. Oh, Kathy, don't do that. You don't know where that's been. But that woman has no fear whatsoever, huh? God bless her. Thomas now grabs a hold of the wrist. Bakabella grabs a hold of a tag. And with a double wrist lock applied, LMK finds herself in a precarious situation. Such insult to injury right there, folks. Thomas now tags himself back into the matchup. Bakabella continues to apply pressure from his angle. Still a better love story than Twilight. Teddy Goodz has them both lined up, and both fall victim to clotheslines. LMK finds herself back into the contest. Goodz and LMK have their opponents right where they need them. I'd say this, if Lil Me Kathleen and Teddy Goodz can continue on the path they're currently on, I think she's going to be fighting for that championship title, the one that Channing Thomas holds oh so dearly. And we've got another meeting of the minds here at Mattapoisett.
World-class Greene! World-class Greene! World-class Greene!
Cover here applied. Just a 1 count per Robinson. Ted with a hold of the wrist. Keeping Thomas in their side of the tracks, if you will. Well, me Kathleen charges in. Standing headlock applied. Oh no, she finds herself in the clutch of Bakabella. Ooh! Driven face first into the canvas. Channing Thomas sparing no expense. Fresh tags being made between Bakabella and Thomas. As much of a fan as I may not be of that duo, it is a wise strategy to keep Thomas in there longer. He's got more of a gas tank. Little me Kathleen has yet to show some signs of recovery over these past couple of minutes, and you gotta wonder, like, has she already reached the end of her tank as well? Swift tags continue to be applied. Bakabella's got LMK by the hair, something he wishes he still had, as he asphyxiates his opponent using a boot right over the... That's just dirty pool. And the two of them... Yeah, I'm starting to grow just as restless as Teddy here. I mean, this has been a tough one to call and a tougher one to watch. The Mattapoisett faithful,
I got her, baby, I got her!
letting Bakabella and Thomas know how they feel towards their actions. Whoa! Fresh tags made. Teddy Goodz finds himself into this matchup. Couple of strikes to Channing Thomas, who reverses the whip attempt. Thomas feverishly calling for a count. Teddy actually breaks his fall from that suplex attempt. Pieces up Thomas, who reverses the whip yet again. Charges in with a forearm, does Teddy Goodz. Running back elbow. Big back body drop. Teddy Goodz has got Thomas right where he wants him. He charges in. Lands the leaping back elbow. And Bakabella has found himself
I was gonna cheat. I was gonna cheat.
in the ring. No tags were applied. Goodz has got him goozled. And he's going coast to coast, post to post.
This is for all of you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, big chop right across the pectorals. Goodz tags in Little Mean Kathleen. And both of them are on the same page. Each of which dismantling both of their opponents. Little Mean Kathleen and Teddy Goodz have found themselves in the driver's seat, but Thomas continues to fight onward. There are bodies strewn about the Knights of Columbus here, folks. Bakabella not quite standing in his team's corner, struggling to get back to his feet. Channing Thomas being dragged to his by Little Mean Kathleen. Oh, she misses the bulldog attempt. And Thomas momentarily takes Goodz out of the equation. Oh, we've got a 2-on-1 assault here. Wait a minute. Channing Thomas got his hand loaded up with something. Oh! And he misfires. Folks, we've got ourselves some official winners to this contest, and Teddy Goodz and Little Mean Kathleen. Little Mean Kathleen has gotten herself a chance at the Live Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship title. That's going to take... Whoa! That's going to take place later on this year in October. But for right now, we've got more action on tap for you. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back to the Knights of Columbus Hall in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts. This is Live Pro Wrestling, and we've got another singles bout on tap for you. Kicking things off is another hometown hero in Anthony Stone, and I'll tell you, he still looks as if he is carved out of granite. Tough as nails, a fighter at heart, Anthony Stone. Going to be doing the grapples here this afternoon. Here's a young man who's made some impressions and made a few waves throughout this area. Alec Price, arguably one of the faster rising stars of this region. Currently making a name for himself throughout the entire East Coast, from the northern tip of Maine to the southern tip of Florida. Everyone has heard the name at least once. Alec Price his stock continues to rise, folks. And right now, he's gonna be tested. The thing about Anthony Stone is he too is a no frills, no fancy business kind of guy. And Alec Price, he catches the eye. He's not your average grappler, but Stone is as tough as they come. It's going to be interesting to see how things go down in this matchup. That's right now, let's kick it to Rich Palladino.
Introducing first to my left, wrestling out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. 185 pounds, the resurrected Anthony to my right, wrestling out of Palladino, 175 pounds. He's the current ESW Interstate Champion. He is the current second Underground Pro Super Champion and the current Wrestling World Champion. Beast, the Prize Leading OG, the Prize, Alec Prize.
Contest about to be underway as soon as our timekeeper gets the call from Tony P. Anthony Stone is not one bit phased. He is not thrown off in the least bit. And I can see and understand how and why. Stone has seen many people come and go over the years. He's seen young prospects like Alec Price come and go. Stone remains unfazed. He remains unchanged. Each one of these competitors has himself somewhat of a fan base here at the Knights of Columbus. But if you're a fan of professional wrestling, you are going to enjoy this matchup, folks. Both of these two have an athletic pedigree that is tip-top and not to be overlooked. Anthony Stone right now, he's keeping Alex Price fixed with that hammerlock. Price gets back up to a vertical base. And in spectacular fashion, applies a nice standing headlock. Certainly he's got the leverage advantage from this position, but now Stone quick to change it up. If he can get Price onto his heels, he can break the hold. Stone may be playing a little bit of possum. With the miss and redirection, he spikes down Price with a shoulder thrust of his own. And I've never seen someone who stands under 6 feet and weighs less than 200 pounds, yet hits as hard as Stone does. It's sick, really. Price now charges up off the ropes, runs into the wall. Anthony Stone continues to charge in like two Rams button heads. Which one is gonna budge first? Well, both of these guys have one another scouted, both expecting one to go for the leap over. Each one of these competitors have taken up space in one another's mind.
That way. That way. All right, guys, come on.
Price off the ropes. Yet again, these guys are matched. Move for move, nuance for nuance. Stone catches him. Both men swinging roundhouses, kicks.
Oh, that was pretty dope. I always said you were good, man. I always said you were good.
Price and Stone are somewhat of a stalemate here. A mutual show of respect. Some sportsmanship is oh, wait a minute, always welcome. But very short-lived here in this sport. Alec Price at the other side of the ring here. Trying to regain his bearings. Stone takes a hold of the arm. Gives him a whip across the buckles. Price now on the shoulders of Stone. Makes his way back to his feet. Solid ground. Ducks from underneath. A modified belly-to-back suplex. And driven down with some stank. The Northeast Beast continues to pursue against Anthony Stone, looking to chop him down and keep him as isolated as possible. You don't want Stone getting into those fuller, higher gears, not in the least bit. You can take things to the next level very quickly, whereas Price right now is still in the driver's seat. He is dictating the pace of this entire matchup while stomping out the cerebellum of Stone. Fringing upon a manslaughter charge, the Prize City OG takes right to his adversary. Missile-style dropkick at the top of the spine. Still only results in a 2 count.
You fell off and I took over. Show me what you did. Show me what your original client
Hometown favorite Anthony Stone has been on the receiving end of Alec Price's offense for the better part of 2 to 3 minutes. Could be using this time to re-strategize, maybe use this time to gain some air, if you will. Big shot to the midsection. 2, 3. Will it be enough to break the hold? It looks as if it is. Stone launches himself off the rope, slides underneath the pump kick attempt. Price now has himself a full Nelson applied. Can Stone wriggle out of it? Yes, he can. And another moment where these two are on exactly the same page. It is uncanny how well they've got one another scouted. Our official Tony P has made his standing count up to 4. If neither one of these competitors answers before the count of 10, this match will be considered a no contest. Alec up to his feet first. Stone is back to a vertical base as well. Beautifully done. A set of drags has got Price thrown ass over tea kettle. Picture perfect drop kick by Anthony Stone. He's got him hoisted up on his shoulders. Elects for the cover. 2 3/4, says Tony P.
Come on, people.
Stone, after a hellacious offensive flurry, continues to put the boots to Alec Price, who can barely stand on his own. Stone looks to go up top. He's on that 3rd buckle. Price with a half-hearted spin kick attempt. He ends up landing the 2nd. Oh! Cover! Stone manages to kick out. Alec reverses. Stone reverses back to his feet. No, Alec's got him cinched up. Oh! That is gotta be. No, you're kidding me. Anthony Stone manages to take on every bit of that driver and manages to kick out before 3. It's got to be sheer instinct. I don't know what else it could possibly take for a man to be incapacitated for 3 seconds. 3 full seconds. May not seem like a long time to you folks. When you're in between those ropes, running at one another a mile a minute, 3 seconds can be an eternity. Stone back to his feet. A face full of boot. Price charges in, lands the knee lift. Oh! The second one lands just as flush, and Stone is on Dream Street. Price launches himself. He misses. Stone with a... It looked to be a Spanish fly attempt. Cover. 2. No. Price manages to stay alive. Stone back up to a vertical base first. Price seems to be favoring his lower lumbar region. If his lower back's injured, he's going to have a real tough time getting to his feet, let alone staying there or staying busy. Both men are swinging with whatever they have left. European uppercut sends Stone reeling. Stone keeps his offensive strikes Western, if you will. Price spins him around with the ripcord, hits the standing Insigiri. Stone breaks the hold. Alec Price counters. Stone from the second buckle drives the knee right into the clavicle of Alec Price. Just slightly out of reach, though, is the New Bedford native. Stone's feeling froggy. It looks like he wants to fly. Alec Price saw it coming and stopped him dead in his tracks before he could take to the air. The Northeast Beast now ascends a third set of ropes. Takes a little bit too long as Stone finds him there after a bit of recuperation. Price with 3 deft elbows to the back of Stone's neck. He's got him cinched up for what appears to be a torture rack. Oh! Stone is done. He's gotta be. That, my friends, is not just innovation, but that is truly the will to succeed, the will to survive, the will to thrive. The Northeast Beast, the Prize City OG, Alec Price, proving what the hype is all about. He takes it to Anthony Stone in spectacular fashion in a fantastic one-on-one matchup. Big ups to both competitors in this match. You ask me, Anthony Stone never didn't have it. And that right there, a good old show of sportsmanship, goes a long way. Folks, this is live pro wrestling. Don't you go anywhere. We've got a lot more action on tap for you.
Six-man tag team match.
Your attention now belongs to the unit.
Welcome back, folks. We are live at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts. Well, some choice words to one of our locals here by JT Dunn, who's going to be tagging up with Trigga, the OG, and for at least tonight, it appears as if AJB is going to be joining the fray as they compete against Brandon Webb, Shay, and Davey Cash. The challenge was laid out earlier this afternoon, folks, for those of you who weren't in attendance or watching at that time. Look, I've known AJP a long time. I don't know. I don't know about this. I feel as if as a young man he should be marching to the beat of his own drum, but here he has found himself competing alongside JT Dunn and Trigga the OG, better known as the Unit. And in what also seems like a very unlikely mix of characters, a cast of characters, if you will, Shay and Davey Cash representing the Hoodz, coming in to make the save on the 3-1 beatdown that was taking place earlier this afternoon. Brandon Webb was being served up lefts and rights by both JT, by Trigga, and by AJP. Well, now the score's even. Now it's 3-3. Let's see what you cowards bring to the table in this matchup.
Can you even see yours, Bob?
And pro wrestling savior, the one, JT Dunn, the Unit. Their opponents to my right, all three hailing from New Bedford, Massachusetts. What's up, baby?
Whose mom's watching?
Davey Cash, they are the Hoodz! And their tag team partner, the Devil's Reject!
Thank you, Mr. Palladino.
If y'all want to see the Hoodz and bring the web, make these guys suck our unit. Give us a hell.
Official Scott Robinson calling for one member from each team to kick things off.
I'm not getting in the ring until she shuts her goddamn mouth. I'm not afraid of your big
Brandon Webb looking to get some sort of retribution, considering the post-match humiliation he had to suffer by the hands of JT Dunn, Trigga the OG, and AJP. Webb having been given a couple of hours to recuperate from the matchup, from the melee having taken place earlier on this afternoon. AJP given the opportunity to do the same, along with confer with his colleagues.
He's gonna kill me? Is that even PG?
Wow, look at this. They're awfully proud of themselves, aren't they? Tie up a veteran like Brandon Webb and get in your cheap shots. What a bunch of hyenas. Big chop across the pectoral region. The loaded gun, JT Dunn. Big up and over evasion. And Brandon Webb makes it look easy. Grabs a hold of the wrist. Got JT Dunn right where he needs him. Davey makes the blind tag. Devil's Reject hanging out of that arm for dear life. And in this style of matchup, folks, again, you want to keep your adversary on your side of the ring as often as possible, as much as possible, to prevent them from tagging out. A little extra leverage added by the placement of the rope. JT able to reverse and counter. Davey Cash now turning the tide on JT Dunn. Big knee to the midsection, gets him to break the hold, and JT breaks up the monotony, tagging in Trigga, the OG. Finally running into Davey Cash's offense. Haste makes waste, ladies and gents, and you're seeing that firsthand. Cash fighting with every bit of venom he can. He knows he cannot allow Trigga the OG to find his way towards any sort of driver's seat. Oh! Dunn was just given a piece of Davey Cash's mind. But that slight interference, that slight distraction appears to have taken Davey off of his game. One shot to the midsection, one shot to the jowls. Trigga the OG now. Oh, really taking it out on his opponent. AJP finds himself back in the action yet again. Looking to even out the score, if you will. Spread out the workload a bit. Davey Cash in the midst of a chancery fights his way back up to his feet. And a slight hesitation ends up costing AJP severely. Dunn, having tagged himself in, has evened the score a bit. Get one over on Davey. Oh, keep your back turned too long, and that's what's going to happen. JT finds himself on the other side of the ring there, his opponent's buckle, but he's managed to keep that too as somewhat of a safe zone for himself. Ring presence and situational awareness, folks. Sounds like fancy terms for a whole lot of nothing, but I guarantee you, if you're proficient in one of those areas, you're going to be considered a good athlete. If you're proficient in both, you're going to be a champion. Dunn now is trying to keep Cash as grounded and as isolated as possible. Cash fights his way to his feet, throws a couple of big back elbows, and what comes up must go down. JT's got Davey Cash by the ankle. GT's going for that sharpshooter. That's single. House of Fire. Shea Cash. He's chucking all the garbage now. Oh! Take that moment to entertain and ends up costing him dearly. Shea Cash thrown into the ropes, breaks that double clothesline attempt, and single-handedly floors both JT and Trigga. Shea Cash is going from coast to coast, post to post, dismantling what is left of his adversaries. Oh, he stalls a little bit on that cannonball attempt. Cover here applied. Still to no avail. AJP coming in and making a last nanosecond save. And it keeps the hopes of victory alive for he and his teammates. Shea Cash with a series of right hands. With a chance to stagger Trigga the OG. Shea Cash using those middle ropes as a means of balance, as a means of getting up off that canvas. And it looks like he's having a real tough time doing so. AJP finishing where his temporary confidant has left off. Trigga the OG's now made his way in for an assist. No way. And he makes it look easy. He makes it look so graceful, as if any one of us could just pull that off. Shea Cash in somewhat of a chancery hold. He's looking to break free. Trigga, the OG, stops that plan before it comes to fruition. Or so it seems. Shea Cash, with his last ounce of energy, throws that black hole slam into the mix. Can he tag out in time? Can he answer the standing 10 count? Webb comes in again. He's got to be seething at that loss he's suffered to AJP. Oh, big pump handle driver. Cover. Trigga, the OG, continues to call out instructions to the young prospect. Big swing and a miss. Oh, man. Shea Cash knows he's got JT Dunn outsized and outgunned. They've got him yoked up, splitting the hairs, if you will. And just in the nick of time, Trigga the OG keeps his team's victory hopes alive. And Brandon Webb, clean out of nowhere, decides to throw all caution to the wind and himself at every one of his opponents. Big kick. JT Dunn looking to create some space between he and Davey Cash. Cash has got him up on his shoulders. Dunn reverses with the sunset. Davey Cash still has a couple of feet. I said corrected. I said he had a couple of feet in front of him before getting to the rope. But that was before JT Dunn dragged this to the middle of the canvas. Trigga the OG dropping the gavel. No response whatsoever. That's going to do it, folks.
You don't talk to me, peasant!
Folks, you have watched these men cut any and every corner they possibly can. You've seen them apply as many different strategies as they could. As full of heart as the Hoodz and Brandon Webb may be, these three right here, wow, they're full of something else. But I guarantee you, they're going to be the constant thorn in a lot of people's sides. Thank you, Rich, and thank you to all of those who have joined us here at the Knights of Columbus in Mattapoisett this afternoon, folks. Without you, none of this would mean anything. So again, thank you for joining us. And those watching from your home, thank you for joining us as well. In a very short amount of time, this young man here has traveled the entire world looking to perfect his craft of professional wrestling.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
He calls himself the Alternative. And Anthony Greene, I tell you, he is no alternative in my book. He is primary. He is a number one. And that might go up against the ideology of his opponent here tonight. Originally residing out of Randolph, Massachusetts, Anthony Greene has been somewhat of a hometown hero, if you will. Plenty know him by name. We've watched this young man grow up in the professional wrestling scene as well. And it's been an honor and a privilege to call his matches over the years. Tonight he's going to be going up against somebody who meshes styles unlike anyone else I've seen. I've seen such a fusion of both Eastern and Western and Southern styles right here in this young man's presentation. Ichiban, #1. I'll tell you, this kid has got it all. He is technically proficient. He can fly. He is innovative. If he hasn't made your radar yet, people, keep your eyes peeled. There's something special about Ichiban. Folks, this is our main event. We're going to kick it to Rich Palladino for the ceremonials. Rich, take it away, my friend.
Introducing first in the corner to my left, recently returning home from a 2-month tour of Japan. And hailing from Danger Town, USA, weighing 202 pounds, he's the best thing in wrestling, the Alternative, in the hails from the #1 dojo, weighing tonight at 71 kilos. He is #1, Ichiban.
Thank you again, Paisan, and thank you again, folks. The time for pleasantries, the time for ceremonials is beyond us now. Nobody's going to have more fun than those of us who are watching this matchup. We're going to see ourselves a clash of styles. We're going to see a contrast of movesets, and it's all going to be quite the tribute to the sport of professional wrestling. AG having a considerable size advantage over Ichiban in both the height and overall stature department. AG's put on quite a bit of muscle mass over the years. Ichiban still got himself somewhat of a leaner build, which certainly comes in handy when it's time to take to the air. And you're going to see that in this matchup. I guarantee you, at some point or another, Ichiban's going to take that risk, and he's going to take flight. AG now torquing really heavy on that wrist lock. We're going to take away the extremities of Ichiban early on in this matchup. Beautifully done. Transitions into a hammer lock. And the alternative now is wriggling his way into a headlock takedown. Very well done. Look at those smooth transitions. Very little wasted motion, if anything. Everything has a purpose with him. Technically sound. AG is fully in control, fully in the driver's seat. You can see it just within the body language of Ichiban that he's thinking. He's literally trying to piece apart as much of Anthony's strategy as possible. Backs him up into the ropes, but again, that high, tall stature pays off immensely. Look at the height on that leapfrog. Very well done, but AG gets the best of that exchange. Oh! Sizes up Ichiban's chest and plants a fresh one on him. Big swing and a miss. Ichiban issues out one of his own. Big stiff right hands to the cranium of AG. Anthony Greene charges out. Ichiban, beautifully done. Modified sunset flip. Japanese arm drag. And again, Ichiban able to shift and maneuver his own body weight midair. Incredible! He's keeping AG guessing. He is keeping Anthony Greene reeling, and that in itself is no easy task. Being able to improvise and innovate, well, that's going to take him pretty far in the professional wrestling world, as well as this matchup. Ichiban hung on to that waist lock a little bit too long. Anthony Greene knocks his marbles loose and literally tosses him ass over tea kettle over that top rope. Action coming to somewhat of a halt. AG looking to throw his opponent off his rhythm, and he does just that. Ichiban was moving a mile a minute just a couple seconds ago, and now as if he's come to a screeching halt.
How's this for a week?
Oh! A lot of height on that, as AG just drills the spine of Ichiban into the perimeter of the ring. No give in that section, folks. Greene now has got Ichiban in a chancery, cinches him up, picture perfect vertical suplex, goes for the pin. Still only results in the 1 count, though. As multifaceted as Anthony Greene is, in this particular matchup, I think we've seen a lot of his brawling tendencies. He's felt the need to keep this match less of a catch-as-catch-can style and a lot more of a scrap. That's certainly what it's been. It seems to have been paid off so far. Ichiban looking to fight his way back to his feet. Throwing hooks to the midsection, follows up with a spinning back kick, launched himself off the ropes. Anthony Greene blocks the O'Connor roll, but he eats that drop kick in the process. Ichiban up. Oh, eats a big right hand from the alternative. Anthony Greene jawing off with some of the faithful off camera here. Inadvertently giving his opponent a moment of reprieve. Ha! It looks like it cost him. Anthony Greene has had the tables turned on him. So far, Ichiban looks to be mounting somewhat of a comeback. Anthony Greene now with a standing switch. What the hell is this? Oh! Ichiban with nowhere to run or hide ends up eating that low-placed super kick. Anthony Greene marching to the beat of his own drummer and really getting in the faces of these fans. Starting to poke the bear. AG now thrown into that corner post. Ichiban manages to slip that slam attempt. He could have bought himself some time with that maneuver. Oof! Jawjacker. Neck breaker. Pin. No pressure in the lateral area, and Anthony Greene elects for the chin lock right now. He's really been throwing a lot of offense, a lot of strikes, and a lot of energy into his opponent. But right now, I think if he could slow down the pace and continue to grind things down, he may have a victory on his hands. Ichiban is starting to dig deep. You can see him really utilizing that core strength of his just to get back to his feet in the midst of taking on that hold.
Come on, AG. One. Oh. One.
Anthony Greene continues to mock his opponent, or his lack of understanding for the English language, for that matter. Big back elbow stops AG in his tracks. Springboard crossbody attempt. AG reverses it. Ichiban manages to make his way to freedom. Launches himself up off the ropes. And both men take a hard crash landing to the canvas. I'm not sure which one is made out better or worse in that exchange, but as Tony P issues a standing 10 count, neither man has made it to their feet. Neither one of these competitors has the wherewithal, the makings to really even make it to their feet, but neither one has the ability to give in. Neither one is willing to bend to the other man's will. Neither one of these two can say die. Anthony Greene with a big right hand. Ichiban follows with one of his own. These two are going tit for tat, shot for shot. AG stopped. AG AG rolled up with the schoolboy. Ichiban with a jawbreaker. Big swing and a miss. That one lands flush. So does that one. From that second rope, what's he got in mind here? Big drop kick right to the chest of AG. Cover here, 2. Still not quite enough, as Ichiban appears to be grabbing at straws. He got a lot of height and a lot of vertical on that leg drop. But I've seen AG in some, I've seen him in some real messes before, and I've seen him come out of them. Ichiban's gonna have to dig deep into his arsenal. Dig deep into his notebooks, into his craft work. AG continues to find a way. Launches himself off the ropes, folds Ichiban inside out. And he takes to the air as well, the torpedo dive over that middle rope. Ichiban with the momentum now. Over that top rope, floors his opponent yet again. Oof. Big right hand. Lands in the jaw of Ichiban, who is out on his feet. Big kick to the jaw. Standing exchange right from the apron. Hurricane Rana lands. And Ichiban yet again throwing caution to the wind, looking to create an opening where there really isn't one. AG thrown into the canvas. Ichiban with the code red. Cover here. Still not quite enough. Manages to get a 2.5.
Come on, AG.
The alternative being dragged up by his hair. Oh! Ichiban letting him know how those chops fell earlier. What's he got in mind here? Maybe a suplex attempt? No way. Oh, Christ! AG with his drapes his arm over. Manages a cover. Does not manage a 3 count. Big spiking powerbomb. Ichiban finds a way. And AG appears to have taken every weapon out of his arsenal in an attempt to finish Ichiban once and for all. What's it gonna take? AG's looking to the skies. I don't know if he's looking for inspiration. I don't know if he's looking for answers. But he's got Ichiban by the ankles here. Ichiban with the reversal. Hook of the leg. Super kick to the jaw. AG. No. Ichiban has gotten the reversal. And he gets the 3 count victory. Folks, in a tumultuous battle that went back and forth in a race where these two were neck and neck, we have found ourselves a victor in Ichiban. Let's hear what Anthony Greene's got to say. He's got the microphone in his hand. He's got something on his mind.
Not both of these guys. Let me tell you a little story. The only story that matters. My story. 10 years ago, 10 minutes from here, was where Anthony Greene began his wrestling career right in Fall River. My first matches happened in Fall River, happened in Rochester, happened in New Bedford, but this is my first time wrestling in Mattapoisett. And as much as it's important to me that I finally wrestle here, I'm gone now. I live in Florida, where there's Disney World.
Disney World! Disney World! Disney World!
It's not no place matters. But here in New England, where I believe the best wrestling is cropped, there are guys like Anthony Stone, AEW's Jordan Joel, Goodz, and there's the man that truly is #1, Ichiban.
And what? After such a classy send-off, what? I'm not so sure that's Alec Price.
I just heard AG name off every other person but me. And the fact that he left you and said you're #1? You ain't nothing.
Whoa.
He ain't nothing. No. Me. Me.
There's always a bigger fish. This has been Live Pro Wrestling. On behalf of everyone here, thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.